Welcome to One Happy Thing, the podcast where three best-selling novelists, Maddie Dawson, Carrie Schaefer, and Jennifer Morgan, explore the silver linings, bright moments, and everyday magic that inspire a kinder, more creative world. One happy thing at a time.
Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of One Happy Thing. I'm Maddie Dawson, and I'm here with my friends Carrie Schaefer and Jennifer Morgan. And we have a special guest today, which we're so excited about. And here's Jennifer to introduce her to you.
Well, thank you, Mallory. We are so excited to have you with us today. And I want to let our listeners know exactly who you are because I know they're also going to be super excited. So Mallory Kass, she's also known by the pen name, which you might know her by, for Kass Morgan, because she's the New York Times bestselling author of numerous young adult novels, including the series The 100, which has been translated into more than 20 languages. Wowzers. And was adapted into a critically acclaimed hit television series, which you might have watched. You need to tell us later in the comments if you've seen it. I've seen it. Okay, I won't tell you anything else about it. But Save the Date is your newest adult fiction debut, which we're going to talk about later on. We're going to touch on that and how everyone can find out all about your book. But before we do that, this is one thing we really enjoy doing with our guests. We want to know, what is your one happy thing right now?
I so appreciate the chance to think about that. There aren't many opportunities throughout the day. So I love that question. Though I have to warn you, mine might be a little bittersweet happy. So I hope that's okay. So my happy thing is my 10-month-old son, Walter, who is the light of my life and gets just cuter and more interesting every day. But what's particularly sort of meaningful and poignant right now is that my mom passed away a few years ago before she got to meet Walter or my brother's kids. So she never knew her grandkids, and she was an artist and clothing designer. And it would have given her such immense joy to make clothes for them. And it's always been a little tough to know that she made clothes for kids all over the world, but not her own grandkids. But recently people have been giving me back the baby gifts that she gave them, that they have been saving all these years. And a lot of them are just starting to fit right now. So dressing Walter in the clothes that I still feel like his grandma made for him in some way has been really, really special. So it makes spring sort of even more meaningful this year for me.
That's so lovely. What a great story that is.
I love the idea that kind of all times are now, that whole interconnectedness thing. And so there's this, here was your mom giving these gifts out into the world. And then they were just all there to come back to, that's just, I got little goosebumps.
Yeah. I know, I got goosebumps too here.
Oh, thank you. And I think I don't do it anymore because now it's been a few years, but for a while I was still finding presents from her, like packages I hadn't opened because I thought they were, I don't know what I thought they were, but it turns out they were clothes she had made me or bought for me. And I think I finally have opened all of them, but who knows, there might be something left waiting for the right moment.
Oh my gosh. I love this. This reminds me. So my mama passed away when I was 9, and she used to make cross stitch, all kinds of things, chickens or houses or flower gardens. And I don't remember this because I was such a child at the time, but she made something for my 4th grade teacher. And it was a chicken in a barn. It's so pretty. And she must have given it as a teacher gift in the 4th grade. And so I went home for Easter, and my 4th grade teacher still goes to my family church. She had wrapped up this, I didn't know what it was. She'd wrapped up something, and she said, I keep looking at this and I keep thinking about you, and I want to give it to you. And it's something your mama made. And I was like, what in the world? But it is so special, because it just was like, what in the world? And this is, I don't have to tell you how old I am, but y'all know I was 9 a long time ago. And that she's kept this thing, all these years from a teacher gift, which I imagine teachers, they probably get a lot of stuff because that's a fun thing for kids to do. It was for us when we were little. And so, like you said, Carrie, no time, it's all time. And that she's kept it, hung on to it. And then something compelled her to say, I'm going to give this to Jennifer, because she was actually just going to give it to my family and say, give it to me. But I can totally relate. Gave me goosebumps that your mama's gifts, all these beautiful things she has made for children, and now they've kept them and given them back to you. And they probably didn't even get the gift at the time thinking, oh, I'm going to keep this for Mallory one day. But they have.
Right.
Yeah, and I think, your mom was giving that gift to you as well in a way. I think there's something there. Oh my goodness. Thank you for sharing that. I'm going to need a minute to recover.
Think how happy these moms would be knowing that you two now have these gifts.
And maybe they're cross-stitching together somewhere.
Exactly.
I
That
really
quilting
think
circle in the sky.
they just get a kick. I just know they get a kick out of it. They're like, oh, wait, we've got something for Mallory. She's going to open this up. Wait till she sees this.
Yeah.
Like, I love how happy. What about Maddie? What about Carrie? Do y'all have like family gifts that you either have just had all these years, or that you look at and they still make you happy and smile, or something that's kind of shuffled around through the family and then you've ended up with it? Do you have anything similar?
I'm trying to think if I do.
I have one. It wasn't really, it was I love clocks. I like dingy clocks, like the old-fashioned ones that bong every hour and all of that. They're annoying when you're trying to sleep, but I like them anyways. So my dad had one, and when my dad passed, I wanted it, but it went to my older brother. You know how these things go. And so I'd forgotten all about it until years later, my very, very wonderful brother took it into a clockmaker, got it all polished up and retooled and everything, and then sent it to me as a birthday gift. So that was another one, really. And then it was like a piece of my daddy now sitting in my house that reminds me when it bongs.
Is it like a grandfather clock, or is it a smaller type clock?
It's not a grandfather clock. It sits on a shelf.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
I did think of something that I have that my mother had a baby pillow when she was just a baby, and she slept with it as a baby, and it would get worn out and she'd put a new cover on it, and she kept it all the way until she died. And it was just all layers of covers at this point. I doubt the stuffing was even existing anymore. And before she died, she said, I need you to take my baby pillow and keep it with you. And I keep it on my bed all the time. And I keep the last cover on it because it just reminds me of her. She lived in Florida, and it's such a Florida print. It's just got all these flamingos and seagulls and stuff on it. But that was the thing that she left, and just always makes me think of her, because her little pillow was the most valuable thing. She slept with it over her eyes, when I was little. And if she couldn't find it, that was it.
Oh,
I love that. It's so funny because, readers might think some of these magical moments in our novels are sort of forced, or that wouldn't happen in real life, but it really does.
It's true. Yeah. And I was thinking of to me, I call it magic too. All the magic that is in just imbued, is that the right word, into these objects that are now in our house, and that when you see it, there's an instant emotional connection to it, and that's magical. We see things and they make us happy. I mean, every time you see those clothes, even when he outgrows them, every time you see them, it's just this feeling of, oh, my mama's here, or my mama's pillow, or my daddy's clock, and it gives me so much comfort. And we don't make these up. I mean, I think of Maddie, you had a story of a magical skirt. We have clothes that we wear that make us feel, happy or powerful or pretty or whatever they do, like that's real to all of us. So we're totally on board with that.
Mallory, my magic skirt story is that I got divorced, and after I got divorced, I had this plain denim skirt. I mean, there was nothing exciting about this skirt at all. But every time I would wear it, I would meet a new guy, And I remember a friend of mine finally saying, I think about 1 inch of this skirt would be about enough. You don't need to wear the whole skirt. Just piece off and carry it. You're meeting way too many men,
Well, have you written about that?
He did.
Incredible.
And then she and I had a teacher conference dress that we would share, that whenever we had to go to a difficult teacher conference, we would wear that, because that was our dress that would bring magical, vibes
Okay.
from the
So, Maddie, now that you brought up the skirt, we do have to talk about the book that this skirt is in, and that you do have a character who has this magic skirt in the book.
That's true. That's true.
I didn't know this came from a true story. You had never
didn't
told me
know?
that.
Oh,
I don't
really?
think you told us it was true. I thought it was just her story in the book.
No,
I didn't know Maddie was meeting all those men.
Complicated men too, tough men. The book is Let's Pretend This Will Work. And I'll show you a little picture of it right here.
Always be prepared.
Is that backwards?
Oh.
You see
No,
that backwards?
No,
in this whole work.
All right, there it is. Anyway, but yeah, that was a fun part to put in that book, where the magic skirt was.
Yeah, so she gave the magic skirt to a character. And then I remember somebody wanted you, was it an editor? Somebody wanted you to cut that skirt out of the story at some point, and I had a fit about that.
Oh yeah.
I was like, no, the magic skirt stays.
Non-believers, they don't get it.
So, Mallory, now we need to know,
Yeah, so
in your new book, tell us again what the new one is called, which is, I understand it's a book for adults, and you've been writing young adult.
Yes, exactly. So it's called Save the Date. It's a romance. I also call it a romantic comedy of manners, because there's a lot of humor in it and some sort of social satire. And yeah, it's the first under my name. It's my first book for adults. It's the first that I've written as Mallory Kass instead of my pen name, Kass Morgan. So it's been a long time coming, and it's just a dream come true to have it out in the world.
When did it come out?
Last week, Tuesday.
Last week. Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
So for
That's
our listeners, that's April the 14th, right? That's the day that it just came out. So
Yes.
you find it right now. Mallory, what happy reason made you want to shift from young adult to writing an adult book? Is it something you've always wanted? I mean, I know that it's different, but at the same time, it's still a story. It's still your voice. It's still your storytelling. Your characters are probably older, but what was the shift? Because you were doing, it's more sci-fi, right?
Yeah. It wasn't really a conscious choice. Like, okay, I'm ready to write for adults. I just wanted to write about a wedding, and that sort of has to be for adults unless it becomes a very different type of book. And it was during the pandemic, and I found myself sort of feeling strangely nostalgic about weddings, because in my 20s and 30s, I went to so many, and I spent all my money, and I went to like so many of them by myself, that every time one of those invitations would show up in the mail, I'd feel that little like, oh God, I'm going to be broke and alone.
Yeah, right.
But then when everything paused, I found myself really wishing I could be in a beautiful space with all my friends, dancing and celebrating. And I realized that weddings aren't just a celebration of romantic love and the couple. It's a celebration of family and friendships. And on the other hand, I also know that weddings make people insane. It's every possible human emotion. So I thought that would be a really fun setting for a book.
Oh my God. Yeah. So much can happen at a wedding, and does happen, right?
Yeah, people lose their minds.
I can't wait to read this.
Yeah.
I am going to order it right when we get off, because this just sounds like such a fun book.
Thank you.
It does sound. It does. So did any of your little magic creep into this book?
I haven't really thought about that. I think the magic is just everyone getting a happy ending.
Yes.
I there is a character based on my mom, who is going through sort of a similar experience in the book. And yeah, I think it was sort of magic to get to talk to her in that way. When her fictional daughter in the book speaks to her, sometimes it's things I wish I could have said or wish I could have heard. So there was some of that. But I want people to know this book is absolutely a comedy. It is not a downer.
Yeah.
This is important and good to know. I think just writing itself is magic, right? The way that the characters come to us, the way that all these little squiggles on the page actually mean something. it's magical. I think about
Yeah.
that sometimes in the morning when I'm journaling. I was just sitting there the other morning and my pen's moving and I have sort of inchoate thoughts in my head, but my hand is moving on the page and actually making all these little shapes, which is making words, which is making my thoughts come clear. And I was like, how weird is that really, if you think about it? I mean, we don't think about it. It's magical.
It
The
truly
whole
is.
process.
And it's hard to remember during the process because I hate every book I've written during. Generally, I like the first draft, and then the second draft, I'm like, well, this is a mistake. It's like when you go from your first magical date to the 12th date. But then when you look at it later, like when you pick up the final book and start to read, you're like, I truly don't remember how did this come out of my weird little brain? And it's almost like looking back at photos of yourself from when you were younger, when you thought, I was too fat, I was too this, and then you look back, you're like, I was beautiful. And I sort of feel like I have that experience when I read my books. I'm like, how could you have doubted yourself? This is a great little book.
Why did this seem bad at the time?
Yes.
I know. It's so weird, isn't it, how it transforms?
I
It really
love
does.
that. I love that throwback to photographs and just like looking at yourself. I was literally talking to my husband about this yesterday. He was making some joke about us being old, and we're not old. I was like, stop saying that. And I said, I was thinking about 20 years ago. He and I have been together a very long time. And I was thinking of looking at myself, and he was joking about himself. So we've all been through the bad fashion stage and stuff. And I thought, when I was so hard on myself, and when I look back at those pictures, I said the same thing you did. I was like, we were amazing. We were so beautiful. Look at us. And I said, one day we're going to be 90 something looking at ourselves now. And you are not going to say, look at that old man. You're going to say, look how good I looked. It's so similar to your books, like when we've all talked about that too, reading our books later or looking at it and thinking, I wrote that. Like, it's like you're in some kind of fugue state.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's this beautiful thing that you've created that you're beating yourself up for in the middle of. Right. And then when you revisit and you're like, what was I talking about? This feels like a magical object that is actually really, really good. And it's not even egotistical that you're saying that because you don't even remember doing it. It's like someone gave you.
So when you, yeah.
Good reminder, because I'm in the beating myself up stage.
So this is good for you to remember. I'm in that stage where I'm trying to write 5 pages a day. And some days, I can just sit down and 5 pages. And other days I have to drag myself over and I can barely write them and I hate them. And I just, there's 5 of them. They don't have to be good. Just have to be 5. And when I go back and look at all of them, I can't tell the ones that I dragged myself over to and the ones that just flowed out because it all kind of works. And that's really helped me to remember that, that we can't judge everything right at the moment, I think.
Yeah. I don't know. I did not sleep at all last night. So my metaphors were coming fast and incoherently, but it also feels like when you're shopping at one of those like bargain stores and you're like, these clothes are junk, but you find something it catches your eye, but then you bring it home and you put it on your bed or in your closet. And suddenly it's this beautiful object. It just needed to be seen in a different context.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
That's really so. Mallory, you're now then in the celebratory phase. Like you're not in I'm beating my book up. Now you're like, I've got Save the Date out in the world and it's amazing.
Yeah, it's celebratory. It's also scary because with the books under my pen name, I'm proud of them, but you also can hide a little bit behind it. And there's no denying that this is my book. This is a story I've been wanting to tell. And I feel vulnerable in a way I haven't before.
Right.
Oh, well, thank you for sharing that. I mean, we can definitely relate to that vulnerable feeling and putting your babies out into the world and not knowing what anyone's going to think, but that the fact that it is our art and we had to create it. And as long as it's done something for you, I mean, you got to have conversations with your mama. You got to say things to her you've never said before. Like you needed to write this book. So like you're successful already. Like it's amazing that you created it and you put it out in the world because that's a big leap, sharing your art with people, even though we'd love to say we're all heart wide open doing that, we still get scared.
Thank you. And I will say, it was cathartic to speak with my mom, but I think, I was speaking to a lot of other people with that book. I finally got to go on these tirades and have my characters call out the men who don't treat them well on the dating apps, and sort of all of these speeches I always wanted to give after I was ghosted. I got to give to my characters. So that was
That's
really fun.
wonderful.
That is so wonderful.
That's one of the best parts of being a writer, isn't it? You have a little bit of power here.
Yes,
All of a sudden.
you get the final word.
Get to say the things I love creating characters who get to say the things that I always think and don't say.
There's a famous writer, and I can't remember who it is, but she and I go to the same dentist, and she dated the dentist's brother, and she has killed that guy in every one of her books a different way each time, and the dentist is just like, oh my God.
Oh, wow.
They can be fun.
Oh, I've got to up my game.
Yeah.
How many ways? How can I kill thee? Let me count the ways. Oh, new book title for Carrie. I actually might have to do something with that.
Yeah.
Let's write that one down. So it's time we need to ask our readers and listeners a couple of questions. So you out there listening, we would love to know. I think if you had a gift come back to you from the past, like Mallory has, and like Jennifer, where maybe someone you love gave something away and then it came back to you. We'd love to hear about that, and just really anything that's lighting you up or that feels magical to you in the moment. So
yeah, let us know. You can reach out to us on onehappythingpodcast@gmail.com. And we love to get your emails. We love to read them and we share them with each other. You can subscribe on YouTube now. You can subscribe anywhere podcasts are streamed. And before we hop off, Mallory, please tell everybody, how can they find you and your new book?
Well, I just want to thank you all for inviting me. It's just what a lovely thing you and your listeners are putting out into the world. So you can find me on Instagram at Kass Morgan Books. I think that's the only social media I'm on right now. And I guess also if people are in a little bit of a wistful mood, I just wrote about my mom for an essay on people.com about visiting Prince Edward Island and taking a trip we always meant to take together that sort of inspired the book. So more from me there.
And will you spell Kass Morgan for people so that they'll...
Yes, you're right, because it is not intuitive.
Yeah.
K as in kitten, Kass Morgan.
Okay. Wonderful.
Well, thank you so much for being with us. And thank you, listeners, for hanging out with us for another episode. And we look forward to chatting with you next time. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to One Happy Thing. We hope today's episode brought a little extra joy your way. If you loved it, help us spread happiness by subscribing and leaving a review. And join us next time for One Happy Thing.
Yeah, yeah.